changes and how I directly touch into the lives of people. So don't self-proclaim. It is important that we work for our people. Such that people will say, this one, Akina Matiba, no one came to say it is him.
Okay.
People saw what they have done. And people proclaimed and said, this one is the one. So let us work for the people. And I want to, we have many young leaders and upcoming leaders.
Yeah.
And I will say, as I say, patient pays, let us work for our people. And let me tell you, God is not a respecter of person. If you genuinely work for your people at the right time, imagine God will elevate you. Look at Uhuru. I wish you can see his photos before he became the president.
But talking of Uhuru Kenyatta,
Yes.
former president, have you been in communication with him since
Not
the
of
election?
late.
Not of late. When's the last
After
time
the
you
election,
spoke?
of course, we met a few times, and we tried to make sure that we drive our party in a certain direction. At some point, I think he also gave up and first went quiet. He has not come back to us. So, but we would also not want to bother him. We would want him to enjoy his retirement. We would want him to be a father and a statesman, and not only to ourselves, even to the president. Because he has held a very high position in this republic for 10 years. He should be a statesman who would call without thinking. Elections ended. He handed over the tools of power. Call His Excellency William Ruto and tell him, here, I had tried, it didn't work, you can try it this way. Because he owed it to Kenyans, not to us.
To you.
Not to anybody, not even to Ruto. He owed it to Kenyans who gave him a mandate. Can you imagine what a blessing that your father was a president of a Republic of Kenya, then you became a president. That is a blessed family. And it should remain a blessed family. So they should offer their blessings to all of us. They should share to all of us. People may have not treated him very well, but some of us stood with him to the end. So even if you see like everybody's an enemy, you should look at the people. When everything was offered to us and we did not take, to make sure that he have a decent, send off. He's done with his work with decency and he's not left naked. We covered him and were with him. What would it be so difficult for him to pick a call and call me or call the other person and say, this one is not going right, this is not going wrong. And so it will be unfair when you hear people say like he's funding or doing this. I have no evidence whether he funds or not. But I would pray, and I know there are many people who pray for him, that his heart will not be heavy, that he will come back and become a statesman who can be able to stand at the gap. Call Gachagua, advise him. I went through this journey. This is how I made my mistakes. That's how people started shouting me down. So if you follow this route, it will going to be right. Try and do this way. Talk to the president. I have friends who are foreigners who did this to me. I thought it was a good thing. Then we found ourselves in the ditch. This is how to avoid. He owes Kenyans, not myself. Because Kenyans respected him and gave him the power for 10 years. It's not a joke. So, that president, you see how he's normally protected and the privileges. I know it is very difficult work. I look at His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. I have not seen a president, you call him for a meeting at 6, you find him waiting for you. Late in the evening, he'll still be working. So surely. When
you converse with him, the president, William Ruto, he was the deputy party leader of Jubilee Party. What do you discuss about, especially the vision of Jubilee? Perhaps, do you foresee joining? You know him, he has his own political party. Yes. And what he has done is he has become a mentor to us. Okay. He's become a father. And he has encouraged us. We are not looking at killing Jubilee. We are looking at building Jubilee. So he also, as a party leader, and myself as an acting party leader, if I want to ask when things are tough and how I would be able to manage my party, I'll talk to him because he is a party leader. I am a newbie. And the same thing, I would pick a call and call Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. It's a guy I would like to have a conversation later with him and ask him, how have you managed to have this following? Almost... When's the last time you spoke with Raila? Honorable Raila? I spoke to Honorable Raila the final day before they were removing from being the deputy minority whip. And Honorable Wandai and a few of my colleagues from ODM did a very bad presser and saying they're going to cause Parliament for a standstill if I'm not removed. And the only question I asked him, is there any one thing that I did for you and for your coalition that you can remember? If you have ran now to have a national dialogue, why don't you start having internal dialogue? Because they removed us from the WhatsApp groups. They stopped inviting us for their parliamentary group meeting, even before we went. And then the only person who was going to talk on our behalf, on members of parliament, is one, Honorable Kioni.
who is not an elected member. How can you go to in a meeting and you're going to talk about parliament and you're not in parliament? And you know, various stages, there are various challenges. And that is where we started parting. And that's what I asked him. And I told him I'm actually in shock because he's a statesman. No, he told me that we went alone to work with the government. I told him, but that is what we're exactly doing. So the problem, us going to talk to the government or going alone. And to him, the problem was going alone. I said, but you have come. Welcome.
So when you compare your strategy and the Azimio strategy of the talks, do you think they somehow mirror with each other? And do you think perhaps the electorate thinks differently of leaders?
They might think differently, yes. And I would excuse them for thinking differently. Yeah.